So here's a couple of wisdom. Fighting. So from my experience of being a fighter and being involved in boxing for over 25 years, is to really share that fighting is a human instinct. So when we look at stress has been around since the caveman. So let's look at the caveman. So this human instinct to fight, flight or freeze really comes from when the caveman would need to go to hunt to provide food for the family. He would come across a saber-toothed tiger, for example. And in that process, if that situation, just like life and stress, was too much and too overwhelming and too much of a shock, it could go into freeze mode. And that's where often the caveman was eaten by the saber-toothed tiger. And then if the caveman was overcome and overwhelmed by the situation, if he had it in him to run and get away, he'd live to fight another day and provide food for the family. So when we look at fight, the caveman would strategize to find a way to kill his next meal and take that food back to the cave. And what he'd need to do is he'd need to come across something that was really challenging and demanding and full of pressure, where it would need to be instinctively on to manage that situation. And quite often caveman learned to do that, to really get to the saber-toothed tiger, find a way to trap it, to kill it, to use all that strength and that physicalness and that aggression to confront the animal and then take the food home to the family. So let's look at the fight, flight and freeze response. And that is a human instinct. It's like having old software. So what I want to talk about is the new software in today's times. We don't need to go out and kill. I know that we have a process of animals being, animals being killed for food, and that's all part of the food chain. But what I want to talk about is the response. The response, the ability to respond in circumstances in today's world, because a lot of people are still fighting. There's still this aggression and confronting situations and managing it with intensity. And that's still a reaction. That's like the old software. So what I want to look at is how we learn to manage circumstances comes down to the ability to respond, to stay calm, to stay focused, to stay in the body, to be present, to get the right feedback, to deal with the situation. So when we look at, in modern times, in today's world, it's how we actually deal with situations. And what I want to talk about and cap this off with is that fighting is a human instinct, but emotional intelligence is an awareness. And what we have in today's world is this confrontation of the best athletes in the world confronting each other to sell fights to an audience, and really causing that reaction. And then the calm fighter who stays in that responsive state and manages that process right through from the beginning to the end and stays in a calm place and stays in response. So the ability to respond is what we all need in today's world. So I want to share that with you today. Have a great day. We're looking at fighting as a human instinct and emotional intelligence is an awareness.